that stream.
What IV should I have?
Oh, Dave.
Which one should I get? This.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist David Boyd, live in the StormTrack 5 Weather Center, and we're going to be giving you some team coverage here of severe weather that is pushing through the area. We have a tornado warning that's just been issued for far western Lee County, and this is in effect until 2:45 this afternoon. It was preceded by a severe thunderstorm warning. It was actually a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for potential gusts of 70 miles an hour, but we also have the risk of a tornado. The storm itself is still in Kentucky around Middlesboro, where there's also a tornado warning there. The tornado warning for Bell County is in effect until 2:15. The tornado warning for far western Lee County is in effect until 2:45. And this is for areas just to the west of Rose Hill. We also have severe thunderstorm warnings further to the north as well. So there's warnings in effect. This is out for the line that's moving into Leslie County right now. We're going to be going live on News 5 WCYB here momentarily. We're watching a line of thunderstorms that is pushing through the area this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for the next few hours through 9 o'clock, although we probably will. We welcome those that are watching now on News 5 WCYB. We've been doing some live coverage on our YouTube and Facebook pages. I'm meteorologist David Boyd, along with Chief Meteorologist Dave Dirks.
Good afternoon, everybody. We got a pretty significant line of storms now pushing into the western portion of the region. So that's why we're breaking in now, and we'll continue as long as this tornado threat right now for western Lee County continues.
So nothing in the Tri-Cities right now. Things are pretty clear at the moment. But we do want to mention that a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for the entire viewing area. This is in effect until 9 p.m., although it probably will be canceled early because of this line that's moving through pretty quickly. So let's catch you up on the storms that are now pushing into Lee County. So the storm that has prompted the tornado warning for far western Lee County is now over Middlesboro and moving pretty quickly to the east.
Yeah, these storms,
about 60 miles an hour.
We probably should give a heads up, even though this has yet to move into Lee County. It is going to be actually moving in now to the western tip of Lee County, but we do want to give a heads up to Tri-Cities, folks who have outdoor plans, maybe out and about right now, that this line is moving east at about 60 miles per hour, and we'll probably be getting into the Tri-Cities over the next 2 to 3 hours, right? If we do a little StormTrack, we could probably figure.
Yeah, We'll do a StormTrack here. Let me put it in the right mode here, going about 60 miles an hour. So we'll go ahead and do an advanced StormTrack on this. So it actually may be moving into Kingsport here in about an hour, and into the Bristol area about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you know anybody that has outdoor plans, they may not be paying attention to the weather. We could be having storms coming into the western part of the Tri-Cities as early as 3:15 or so. So this is where the storms are now, still across mainly Kentucky. And they extended the tornado warning. It's a different Weather Service office. That's why it's technically a different warning. It's in place now for extreme southern Harlan County. But it's the same cell that we're talking about. So there's two tornado warnings for the same cell. You look at just the tornado warnings here. So there are the tornado warnings, far southwestern Harlan County and also far western Lee County.
And somewhat different about this setup is this, typically we get tornado warnings for like a supercell or an individual strong cell.
Right.
This is what we call quasi-linear convective line, and it's coming through, and you get these little kinks within the line, and you get some rotation where these little kinks develop, and that can cause at least brief spin-up tornadoes, and also we're concerned about, in addition to that possibility of a tornado, with just straight line wind damage that could be, 60, 70 mile an hour winds as well. Yeah,
and looking at that, it looks like the strongest rotation was actually just to the west of Middlesboro. So if we go back in time here a little bit, you see right in there, west of Middlesboro, that was about 207. The rotation was a little, yeah. So there's still some rotation. It's more broad at the moment. But there's the shear tracker showing where it was over Middlesboro just shortly ago. Let's also check out the hail. Hail's not very large at the moment. The main thing we're concerned about would be damaging winds and also the risk of a spin-up tornado. So this is not the kind of tornado that's going to be on the ground for a long time, but it could occasionally produce a brief tornado in amongst the line of storms that's producing the wind damage. So that's a larger threat. It's affecting even more people. All the areas shaded in yellow, that's a severe thunderstorm warning, and then the red, the tornado warning.
And I would fully expect, sporadically they may put a tornado warning out within this long line or this extended line of severe thunderstorms. But I'm assuming, unless this thing just starts weakening quickly, that the line of severe storm warnings will continue to move into southwest Virginia and northeast Tennessee. In fact, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning, did we not?
Yeah, the warning.
Or was that already?
Yeah, that was the initial warning.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
But that does include Hancock County.
Yes.
And just bumping up, not quite yet, into Hawkins County. So, heads up around Rogersville, Sneedville, of course, Idson and Burgoynesville, and then, of course, into Lee County as well, where that tornado warning is in effect. We were showing you the wind velocity component of that storm that was showing maybe a little bit of rotation that would indicate the possibility of a tornado, spinning up within that line. But the thing is, within this entire line, we've got these little, as I was talking about, little kinks in the overall line itself that can sporadically produce a tornado warning. So we may see that pop up in another location or two as we push through the next couple of hours. So just to, treat this perhaps very seriously, of course, but perhaps that there might be a tornado warning or two, even though we don't have one issued along the line as a whole itself.
So focusing in on western Lee County right now, the most intense part of the storm is now over Middlesboro and close to Harrogate, close to Gibson Mill, still just to the west of Wilderness Road State Park. There's Cumberland Gap as well. So we've had several cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, in fact 123 in the past 15 minutes. So it is a pretty intense storm. So the Lee County warnings in effect until 2:45 does also include far northern Claiborne County and far northwestern Hancock County, but the main part of this warning is for western Lee County. Zoom in a little bit closer, check out the latest on the potential spin. So we're still seeing some wind shear here.
So maybe perhaps right now along the Lee and Bell County line would probably be where that possible tornado is right now. So folks really in Lee County, should be in your safe place right now as this storm continues to move pretty much right over Highway 58. It's probably close to Ewing, Virginia now, around coming across the Cumberland Gap, the tunnel, and pushing eastward now into Lee County. And so folks, this of course would then continue toward Jonesville and areas to the east, including Blackwater and perhaps Pennington Gap. at least the tornado part of the storm probably wouldn't get into the northern part, but the entire county is in at least a severe thunderstorm warning, and the leading edge of this line of storms will have the possibility of producing some 60-mile-an-hour gusts of wind. You can see the current warnings do include all the counties basically that are in our viewing area along the Kentucky-Virginia border, and also into parts of Lee County and Hancock County, which is in our viewing area.
So we'll go back over to just go into the storms a little bit closer here. So we're also watching a line that's producing the risk for damaging winds and the risk of 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts into Leslie County. So that's just west of Hyden, and also just the west of Harlan in Harlan County. And then, as Dave was mentioning, sometimes along these lines we can get some spin-up tornadoes or some rotation that develops along the line, and that's when a tornado warning can be issued along the line. So most of the rotation still looks to be there close to Harrogate and Cumberland Gap. So as we focus in just on that part of the storm, just on the most intense part right in here, let's track that eastward over the next 30 minutes or so. So they'll be putting it into Rose Hill by 2:36, Lee High School 2:43, and if it stays on its current path, into Pennington Gap 2:47 and Jonesville 2:50. So it's still in the far western part of the viewing area, but has been spinning enough for the issuance of a severe thunderstorm warning.
A tornado.
Excuse me, tornado warning. Yeah, tornado warning.
And just in case you just joined us, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that does include all of the area until 9 p.m., but the line of storms has already entered the western portion of our viewing area. So, you know, being the Memorial Day weekend, being a weekend, a Sunday, and you know, a lot of folks are out and about, and, you know, maybe you know someone who is not able to get communication via severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings. Just maybe give them a heads up if they're out camping or perhaps out on the golf course or celebrating, you know, a family gathering, being the, you know, holiday weekend. Just let them know in the Tri-Cities that this line of storms is moving into our area, and just because of the fast nature, moving off the east at 60 miles per hour, is that still the case? 50 to 60 miles per hour, that they are going to be, you know, knocking on our back door in the metro here over the next, you know, 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, the latest, now the tornado warning, that text says 40 miles an hour.
Okay, maybe it has slowed down the line a little bit.
Yeah, because the main line looks like the northern part of the warning for Harlan County. That part of the line is moving faster at 60.
Right.
So
the line itself is moving, you know, roughly 50 to 60 miles per hour eastbound. The little rotation within that storm is moving off to the east at about 40, 45. This is going to change. It's all done via algorithms in the computer. Of course, Doppler radar assesses the movement of everything within a storm, and so that's not uncommon for, you know, for the things to fluctuate. But one thing we're you know, confident of, that the whole line is moving very quickly off to the east, around 50 to 60 miles per hour, and will have the potential to produce some wind gusts, perhaps up to or maybe even exceeding 60 miles per hour. Doesn't appear that hail necessarily is going to be a large threat. Let me put the hail tracker on there, and you can see that perhaps some pea to, I would say, up to penny-sized hail could be with the stronger area of the storms as they continue to push off to the east. You can see the color coding there in the blue, got that right there. And so these are pushing into or very close to Southwest Virginia as we speak. But the line of storms itself is now just pushing through the western part of Lee County, still west of Rose Hill, there along US Highway 58 in Lee County, but it is now moving through in our viewing area, Leslie County. Moselle getting hit hard right now, likely some strong winds, some very intense rain and lightning. But again, I think the main danger will be that initial blast of wind that will come in as the leading edge of the line of storms moves into any given area, pushing off to the east roughly 45, 50 miles per hour. And that will take it, pretty quickly toward the Tri-Cities here over the next hour or so. Let me just see here. I'm going to stop talking and...
And if you know of anybody that's out and can't watch on TV, we are streaming live on our website, wcyb.com. We're also on our YouTube and Facebook pages, so you can let them know that they can tune in there to get some storm updates, because we're going to be there as needed throughout the rest of the afternoon until these storms move out of the viewing area.
So we'll do a track on maybe the southern part of this. So I mean, within an hour or so, this could be pushing toward the, coming through Hancock County and the rest of Lee County. And this is just this one line, part of the line. But just wanted to give you an idea of it, due to the fast movement moving off to the east about 50 to 60 miles per hour. These are approximate times. These are not exact times, but approximate times. That would, I mean, just within an hour, that's at the end of that track there. So, it could be getting through the Rogersville area. It's in getting up, toward Churchill, getting very close to Kingsport, passing Jonesville before then, of course, within the hour, but we'll be coming through there here within the hour, but getting close to Gate City, perhaps, by, 3:30 or so, maybe a little bit earlier than that. So they're not wasting any time as they push off to the east very quickly. And again, that tornado warning continues for Lee County until, what time is that for? That Lee County warning is in effect until 2:45, so for about another 15 minutes. Does also include the far northern, very little bit of, but a far northern part of Claiborne County, as well as a good portion of the western half of Hancock County, as well as Lee County up to about Rose Hill. But all of that yellow area is within the severe thunderstorm warning, and the flashing red is where that tornado warning is currently in effect. So folks need to be in your safe place here over the next hour, extending all the way from Lee County, Hancock County, all the way east, getting close to Gate City and Kingsport by about 3:30 or 4. Before that, probably.
And I was looking at what the National Weather Service was saying about these storms. Earlier, when they were over Scott County, Tennessee, they were getting reports of numerous trees down. So that's why they increased the severity of the storm, increased the severity of the severe thunderstorm warning. There are 3 levels of warnings. The base level, there's a considerable for gusts to 70 miles an hour, and then the destructive for 80-mile-an-hour winds. So they increased it to the level 2 because of the reports of wind damage that have happened along this line. And also analyzing along the line, there's actually some rotation throughout much of Leslie County, southward through around Harlan and western Lee County. At this moment, there's nothing very strong, but because there is some rotation all along the line, there is the concern of a spin-up tornado.
So you're talking roughly kind of this area right through here.
Right.
It has the potential for more widespread straight line winds, but within that whole line, there could be a brief spin-up tornado potentially as well. So that stretches from about Hyden southward toward Harlan, seeing a little bit new development toward Rose Hill in advance of the main line, which is still to the western tip of Lee County, but advancing quickly towards Sneedville and Jonesville, and quickly getting closer to the northern part of Lee County, and eventually into Wise County and Dickinson County as well.
So just getting an update on the warning, no big changes, but just want to mention that the warning is now there in effect for Lee County, especially along around Thomas Walker High, now just the east of Gibson Mill, and still just to the west of Rose Hill. So there's the most intense part of the cell, now moving to the east at 45 miles an hour. So still a radar indicated tornado and some penny-sized hail. But we're also concerned about the more widespread risk of some damaging winds that could be up and down this line, moving into Harlan, moving into Hyden as well. So these are the higher end severe thunderstorm warnings. There's one that includes northern Leslie County. There's some potential gust of 70 miles an hour. And also the higher end severe thunderstorm warning that's also in effect, and this goes further eastward. That warning does include Rose Hill and just to the west of the Lee County Airport. So as I was mentioning there are 3 levels of severe thunderstorm warnings. All need to be taken seriously, but just to differentiate the two, there's the base level for winds of around 60 miles an hour, and those I was just showing you are for gusts of 70 miles an hour, and sometimes it can have golf ball sized hail, but today we're not as concerned about the hail threat as we are more about the damaging wind threat. So there are all the warnings again. I'm getting a new scan on the radar, so let's zoom in again. Check out the latest on any rotation. So we're still seeing some rotation there east of Gibson Mill.
So around the Wilderness Road State Park area
Yes.
there of Lee County.
Right, around Kaler. You're moving into Cohen Mill. So this could produce a brief tornado at any moment. But looking up and down the line, there are a few other areas of some rotation, but more concerned about the straight line damaging wind threat.
It looks like
there.
the lighter shade of green there is probably where the strongest, and that's why the tornado warning is up. The little wind couplet there that has the strongest shear.
Right
there, right along Highway 58, pretty much near Cohen Mill, and pushing off to the east pretty quickly too at about 45. Let me see if the new warning. Moving, the tornado, the storm moving east at 45 miles per hour, the one that has that potential tornado with it there in the western end of Lee County.
Okay, so let me do another storm track just on this part of the cell that most likely has the potential tornado with it where the storm is. So that'll be moving into the Thomas Walker High School area by 2:38, so we'll hear very soon Rose Hill by 2:40, Lee County Airport by 2:51. We have that camera pulled up. We're monitoring it here in the background to see as that storm approaches what we can see. So we'll put that on the air as it gets closer. But just another heads up, let's show the big picture here with this line of storms pushing to the east. And so it will likely be impacting
and so they
areas in
issued a new one
southwest
for
Virginia.
Letcher County, and that's going to be probably a considerable.
Yeah, there it is right there. Let me pull up that information here. Okay, so that is for 70-mile-an-hour winds, nickel-sized hail, and they're keeping that tornado possible threat tag on there. So the rotation not strong enough for tornado warning, but we are concerned about the threat of 70-mile-an-hour winds.
And they have, this is the National Weather Service of Jackson, Kentucky that issued that, and they have that storm peg moving at east at 55 miles per hour. Did get just an update here from the tornado warning for southeastern Bell County canceled. All right, so that's just because it has since moved into Lee County in Kentucky. So that's just an all clear for Bell County regarding the tornado warning that now is in Lee County, which we have previously talked about right near Highway 58 in the western end of Lee County. Around Wilderness Road State Park is about where that circulation is and the possibility of a tornado right now, moving east at about 45 miles per hour. And it's interesting, David, to note that if you pull back just a little bit, that this entire line is being warned for all the way up into the eastern and all the way up through eastern Kentucky and into Ohio as well. So, I mean, this is a pretty widespread concern for severe weather right now that is quickly advancing into and through Lee County, but quickly approaching, northern Lee County, much of, of course, Wise County. It's right now that new warning for Letcher County in Kentucky, and continues barreling through Leslie County. And there's even a little bit of a bow structure that cell now in Leslie County, near and south of Hyden, which oftentimes indicates possibility of some strong winds coming out around the leading edge of that line of storms.
Right. So looking at the latest shear, strongest still to the south in the tornado warning, but there's also some further south into Claiborne County. I'll be moving eastward into Hancock County here pretty soon. So we'll be getting an update on this tornado warning soon, as the tornado warning for western Lee County in effect till 2:45, so it's set to expire fairly soon. So there's the latest scan, and showing a little bit of bowing here south of Ewing, where the winds could be surging out a little bit more. Update to the warning.
Yeah, this is an update for the tornado warning. They took Claiborne County out of the warning, which we had talked about. It was just a very small fraction of the northern part of Claiborne County. So it does, looks like now, as far as our viewing area, it does include the northwest section of Hancock County, near Erie Mill, and also up into Lee County around Ewing, Ed's Mill, and extends as far east as Rose Hill. But that severe thunderstorm warning continues all the way to include areas just west of Jonesville. All of Harlan County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, and so is all of Leslie and Letcher County in southeast Kentucky. But right now in Virginia and in Virginia and Tennessee, the only two counties in our viewing area, far western part of Hancock County, including the Sneedville, under severe thunderstorm warning, and that small section of Lee County on a tornado warning, and also a severe thunderstorm warning extending to just west of Jonesville right now.
So there's the big picture. This leading edge may end up staying north of Lee County, may stay north of Greene County. We'll see if anything develops on the southern side, but the trend lately has been for the worst of these storms to be right along this line and northward.
And I had noted, when I was tracking the forecast models, the short term, over the past couple of hours, they were kind of trending for the more severe part of the storm to kind of take a little bit of a northerly track over the next few hours. We'll see if that continues. But you're right, your assessment's correct when you say that it looks like it is, staying maybe, knock on wood, north of Greene County as far as this particular line of storms is concerned, but certainly not Hawkins County, and certainly not Hancock County, and points north at this point.
So heads up, the severe thunderstorm warning. So severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for much of or all of Letcher County. This is in place until 3:15 for 70-mile-an-hour wind gust. A tornado is possible for Harlan County. Clear that out there. For Harlan County, this is in effect till 3:30. Gust to 70 miles an hour possible, and tornado possible. Then, of course, the tornado warning that we've been keeping very close eye on.
That expires in 5 minutes. Let's take a look at the velocity to see what the rotation is looking right now. We have popped that up.
It's still
maybe a couple of places like the one near and south of Ewing, and perhaps there to the maybe just west down here toward. Maybe have to keep an eye on that cell. But I mean, right now nothing stands out, but there looks like there might be a little bit of shear on the southern part of that storm coming into Hancock County as well. That area of green that you showed, that little bit of not significant shear, but something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, along this line there can be these what we call spin-up tornadoes or brief tornadoes. They may not stay on the ground very long, but The main threat across this whole area would be straight line winds of 70 miles an hour. That can do tornado-like damage and can cause some major impacts to outdoor plans, especially here on this Memorial Day weekend. There's the loop over the past hour. So it's surging toward Cumberland and Whitesburg, and we'll be moving into Jonesville very soon. There's the latest warning now. So let's get an update on this.
That's going to go into Scott County, into Wise County, northern Lee County, in addition to where the warning's already in effect.
Right, so this warning is in effect till 3:30, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and penny-sized hail, but still has that tornado possible tag on it. So it's still concerned that along this line that there could be a spin up. The rotation, though, not strong enough for a tornado warning as it continues to surge eastward. And now moving to the east at 45 miles an hour.
We had talked about maybe, half hour ago that, while we're getting these tornado warnings, this may not look like the normal setup for large, long-lasting tornadoes, but when you get these line of storms and you can get little spin-ups within the line itself, and they're number one, probably hard to predict exactly where that little spin-up may occur. But also you're not going to be something that you're going to get a whole lot of heads up about. It's going to something that they give you this severe thunderstorm warning with that little tag at the end of it that says tornado possible, meaning everybody within that warning needs to be prepared for a possible tornado, even though at this point there probably isn't one right now. All right, so the National Weather Service, just getting an update from National Weather Service in Morristown, indicating the rotation very weak at this point in Lee County and will allow the tornado warning to expire at 2:45. So that is some good news. We were kind of showing you how that rotation was there, but very weak in a number of sections along that line. But that's why there's different levels of severe thunderstorm warnings. Just let you know, heads up that there may be another potentially another brief tornado warning along that line as it continues to push eastward into southwest Virginia and eventually into Hawkins County as well. Even though right now it looks like the most severe part of the storm is kind of pushing through areas of Hancock County and points northward at this point. But you can see the storm reports, David, that are coming in from this line of storms maybe an hour or two ago. Yeah,
back at 118 in Scott County, Tennessee, that's where we had the report of numerous trees down and utilities poles down. And about 1:15 in McCreary County, Kentucky, a gust of 53 miles an hour. Just east of London, Kentucky, Laurel County, had some trees knocked down there. And at 1:50 in Bell County, a 2-foot diameter tree on a power line and shingles blown off a roof. So these storms do have a history of producing wind damage. So that's why we're keeping a close eye on them, especially because there is some rotation along the line. And even though the tornado warnings are going to expire here soon, they do have the risk of damaging straight line winds and potentially a spin-up tornado. And if the line ends up, if some rotation develops along the line, then another tornado warning may end up being issued. So we're noticing that the Boeing structure there to the west of Cumberland, this is where some of the strongest winds may be.
Near Pine Mountain, it looks like.
Right. And over Harlan and over Rose Hill.
And there is a little secondary line of storms that is developing behind this as well, over the the middle sections of Kentucky and toward the Nashville area as well, which do have some severe thunderstorm warnings with those as well. I'm thinking what may happen with this line of storms coming through here this afternoon may stabilize our atmosphere a little bit, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one too for late this afternoon in the early evening hours.
So all of the tornado warnings have expired, but we do have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings along the line, some of them for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, others where it shows that a tornado is possible due to the amount of rotation that has been seen at times along the line. So the leading edge of the storms moving into Hazard, still just to the west of Cumberland, still just to the west of Pennington Gap, just west of Jonesville. You'll be in on these storms soon. And also the Lee County Airport. I want to pull up that camera and see as that loads. We'll see.
If we get some.
It'll take just a second to load.
A little bit for that to get in there, but this will be the Lee County Airport, located to the southwest of Jonesville. So it has not gotten there yet. Here's a live look right now.
I'm gonna turn it a little bit so we can see the storm there. Oh yeah, we can.
So we can see obviously the rain not too far away. So I mean, we're talking, coming in shortly within the next few minutes, probably some downpours. Getting ready to push in toward the Lee County Airport, where there is a severe thunderstorm warning currently in effect. That tornado warning that was in effect for the western part of Lee County was allowed to expire a couple of minutes ago at 2:45. National Weather Service Morristown indicating that the rotation had dropped to below the critical level that would require them to issue a tornado warning. So that is just now a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't want to minimize that. When I say that is just, it's still very important that anybody within the line of the storm needs to be prepared for strong winds that, 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts can do as much damage as a, EF1 tornado or EF0 tornado. So, I mean, you got to be prepared for strong winds regardless if there's a tornado warning in effect or not. But at this point there is not, but we do have those warnings. It looks like right now all of them are in Kentucky and Virginia, David. They'll let the Hancock County one expire.
And also want to mention, just over the past 15 minutes, this line of storms has produced 276 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So the lightning can be very deadly when people are out on the lakes and rivers and enjoying the parks here on Memorial Day. So again, if you know anybody that's out enjoying the great outdoors, give them a heads up about these storms coming in from the west, especially in Wise County, Lee County, Scott County. But we're also going to be monitoring to see what ends up moving through Hawkins County and eventually into at least Sullivan County. We'll see how far south this line ends up getting, as it looks like it's moving just north of east, just north of due east, east-northeast, at about 45 miles an hour.
So it looks like now perhaps on that trajectory path that the southern end of that line probably will clip the Rogersville area, getting pretty close there to the Cherokee Lake region as well for those that are on the lake right now. Even though the brunt of the storm is staying north, gusty winds can extend out beyond where the stronger storm is, just from the gust front itself. So folks there on Cherokee Lake may not get the brunt of this storm, but it is going to probably produce some gusty winds nonetheless, even if it stays north of Cherokee Lake.
So a recap of the warnings. This is for Lee County, far western Scott, and western Lee County. And this is in effect till 3:30. Gusts to 60 miles an hour, penny-sized hail, and tornado possible with that to sail. And then we head northward into Harlan County and also parts of Letcher County. Winds could be up to 70 miles an hour here. And once again, tornado possible. The rotation not strong enough for tornado warning currently. Looking back at the storm reports, nothing new over the past little bit. Let's check out the shear. Still no strong rotation, but still some indicated by radar. That has more of the look of damaging winds, since it's a bit long, a big line instead of there being a couplet. But of course, monitoring closely. So this is round one. We are watching the storms to the west near Nashville. But then there's also yet another round that could push through during the overnight hours that we're going to be monitoring too.
Would be probably separate from even what's there in Middle Tennessee. That would be that would be, you know, later if it holds together, which it may be non-severe when it gets here, that secondary line, but the one that's in Middle Tennessee and in the south parts of Middle Kentucky. But there is, our models project another, probably the final round of what may be some strong to possibly severe storms would be probably coming in after midnight. So that would be the third one that we're keeping an eye on, which has yet to really evolve and develop, but forecast models suggesting that could be the third and final wave of potential severe weather, which might be coming in, you know, before sunrise, maybe after midnight, but hopefully, you know, as folks plan the Memorial Day activities, that the severe threat will have diminished by, you know, mid-morning or so. Not that the shower chances go away entirely, but I think the severe threat would be from that final round of storms overnight through the early part of Monday morning, you know, 7, 8, 9, sometime in that time frame.
So the National Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia, issuing a severe thunderstorm warning way out ahead of the line. So this is for the line of storms that we've been talking about, but they're giving an advanced heads up to those in Dickinson, Buchanan County. So this severe thunderstorm warning is going to be in place till 4 p.m. for the risk of quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour gusts, and continuing that to threat of a possible tornado. But at this point, the line of storm's not strong enough
so you can see how far away that is, but
right.
That also tells you how fast they're moving. If they think
yes.
between now and 4 p.m., that line of storms that is approaching Whitesburg and now over Cumberland and to just west of Pennington Gap, that if that's going to be almost through Dickinson and Buchanan County by 4 p.m., or approximately around 4 p.m., that's how fast this line of storms is moving. And if you just look, you know, due south of Dickinson, Buchanan County, that would be, you know, approximately just above the Tri-Cities there too. But at this point, the warnings extend as far east as western Scott County at this point.
So let's track out the northern part of the line first. So the northern part looks to be moving into Whitesburg by 3:05, Big Stone Gap by 3:11, Norton 3:17, Clintwood by 3:30, and into Lebanon by 4 o'clock. So that's the northern part of the line. The southern part of the line, put a track on that. Of course, all these times are approximate. Moving into Jonesville now, pretty much, into Gate City by 3:37, and into Kingsport by 3:46. Now, again, that's the current projection. The times may need to be adjusted somewhat. Sometimes certain parts of the line can end up moving faster. Let's do another check and make sure there's no additional storm reports. Nothing at the moment. Sometimes it can take a little while for the reports to come in. Thankfully, no very strong shear being reported or being indicated by radar, but more concerned about the straight line wind damage with this line of storms as it continues to progress eastward. Line of storms now moving into Cumberland. Let me pull up the Lee County camera again, as it has now moved into the airport. We're seeing a lot of lightning there. So that will load here in just a second. The visibility has dropped and winds have picked up. There's a live look at the Lee County Airport there. It's southwest of Jonesville. We saw the ominous skies earlier, just off to the west, and now the storms have arrived there. There's the risk for 60-mile-an-hour winds and some penny to nickel-sized hail. All the tornado warnings have expired for now, but as we've been mentioning, since there is some rotation all along the line of storms that we're going to keep a close eye on, see if anything may spin up and need a tornado warning. So this is what's going on right now in western Lee County there, southwest of Jonesville. It's one of the cameras on our Ashley camera network. We have several scattered throughout the viewing area to help you see what's going on and give you a better idea of what is pushing into the rest of the viewing area.
And I was just going to say too, this is meteorologist Kay Alexander. Kind of taking a look at that there. I mean, that's very consistent with where we're seeing some of the heaviest area of rain moving in with some of the brighter colors, the reds, the oranges, right there in parts of Lee County. And of course, we got that severe thunderstorm warning. Still capable of producing winds possibly upwards of about 60 miles per hour.
So now moving into Jonesville, and we have another camera in Pennington Gap. We'll load that one up too, so we can see what it's looking like at the moment.
So we still got the dry weather in the Pennington Gap, but that's obviously going to be coming to an end very quickly.
Yeah, just seeing just a very few raindrops is just on the very leading edge.
And Jonesville as well.
Yes.
It's going to be coming in and already probably seeing a little bit of that light rain already, but soon to come down pretty hard. So let's kind of do a recap of what warnings we have right now. And we'll let the folks know that storm right now that we just have on camera now is in Lee County. And this is a live look from Pennington Gap, but we still have severe thunderstorm warnings. Oh, sorry, I turned off the mic, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings extending in advance of that line of storms right now that extends from near Cumberland, actually east of Cumberland, getting very close to the Wise County border, just to the west of Big Stone Gap, Pennington Gap, Jonesville. The severe thunderstorm warning does extend as far east as Duffield for that line of storms now moving through Lee County and also into Wise County from Big Stone Gap northward to about Pound along Highway 23 here, and Letcher County near Whitesburg. And then, of course, David, you were talking about the severe thunderstorm warning that was issued, well in advance of the line of storms for Dickinson and Buchanan counties until 4 p.m. right here. Those storms are still, well west, but as you had done that StormTrack, that 55, 60 mile an hour movement to the east is going to take it, from near Whitesburg and Cumberland and Pennington Gap and Jonesville to this region by 4 p.m. earlier, probably, toward Clintwood, but to Whitewood on the eastern side of this area that's under the warning would be on the, toward the 4 o'clock hour. But nonetheless, it does include Davenport and Grundy. Wouldn't be surprised soon that we get a warning extended to include the rest of Wise County around Norton and Wise toward Coburn and St. Paul, and also probably for the remainder of Scott County, or much of it, to include Dungannon perhaps, and also Nicholsville, Gate City, Hiltons, and Duffield as well, which is on the east side of the warning currently. That's now in effect for those storms in Lee County right now. So we've got a lot of lightning with those storms right now, don't we, David? Yes,
we do. There's the recap of just the warnings. All of them are severe thunderstorm warnings. And there is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the entire viewing area. This is in effect till 9 p.m., but we will have to watch potentially another round of storms overnight that may not be as severe as the one we're dealing with right now.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, that may be one positive thing about this convective system coming through, is that may help turn over the atmosphere, make it a little more stable, and plus that next round that would come in, at least the overnight round, would be coming in after daytime heating has subsided, obviously. And so that, we'll have to obviously watch that very closely, but short term, over the next couple of hours, we are definitely keeping an eye on this line of storms now. Still west of the Tri-Cities, but pushing east very quickly at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. But you can see here from Pennington Gap, still not particularly intense rain, obviously, but that is still yet to come in here within the next few minutes.
It is darker.
Yeah, definitely getting darker for sure.
The heavy rains will be hitting there soon. So let's go back over the warnings. As you mentioned earlier, Dave, currently there are no warnings in effect for Northeast Tennessee. There is a strong thunderstorm over Hancock County, including over Sneedville.
Sneedville, right.
Yeah. But no official warning on that at the moment. And then the warnings include much of Lee County, far western Scott, western Lee, and then an advanced heads up for Dickinson, Buchanan County. Now Pike County in on the warnings, The storm's about to hit Whitesburg. It's also getting ready to move into far western Lee County. And these could have some very strong winds with them. Still just to the west of Andover and Big Stone Gap. Here's Keokee. Now moving into Dryden. We'll go back to the Pennington Gap camera now.
And I like we were talking about also, with the fast movement of these storms, that we may actually pull back a little bit on that for me, if you don't mind. We'll probably see these warnings extended eastward a little bit as we go through the next probably 15, 20 minutes, if not sooner, for areas of Scott County and Wise County, and also Russell, perhaps Russell County as well.
Looks like the Pennington Gap camera may have gone out as the storm has hit.
And looking at the Hotel Norton camera now on our Ashley camera network, still yet to move into the Norton and Wise area of Wise County, but that those storms are racing very quickly into that part of Southwest Virginia right now. All severe thunderstorm warnings. We did have tornado warning for a brief potential of a spin-up tornado in Lee County. That was allowed to expire, but this is the cell that had that tornado warning with it. It's right over the Jonesville area, Pennington Gap up toward Keokee, getting close to the Big Stone Gap area in southern parts of Wise County. But as you mentioned, the National Weather Service did allow for the severe thunderstorm warning in Hancock County to expire and did not extend it, but there is a strong thunderstorm alert for that cell. I'm assuming probably for Hancock County and Hawkins County, even though there may not be a severe thunderstorm warning at this time for that part of northeast Tennessee. But we still have potential maybe of some 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts within that line across parts of Hancock County now, but moving into Hawkins County. And you can see on that shear there, it looked like there might be a little bit of a kink there near the Tennessee and Virginia state line, just to the west of Kyle's Ford. So I guess that's not really a kink, never mind. But definitely some enhanced wind perhaps up there at that level. So some straight line winds certainly look possible, obviously, with this line of storms as they continue to push off to the east very quickly. And we'll just have to continue to see whether or not this warning is extended into Scott County and Wise County. Probably will be, not again given, but you can see we do have a storm report out of Lee County, David.
Yes, and this was a 55 mile an hour wind gust. Ewing, a trained storm spotter.
So measured gust.
Yeah,
right
measured
there,
gust, that was at 2:31, and this just came in, Bell County, of another tree knocked down. So this storm does have a history of wind damage, and 55 mile an hour gusts can certainly knock down some trees.
Absolutely, and you're talking the difference of a few miles per hour. 55 mile an hour wind, technically is not considered a severe thunderstorm. 60 is, so can you really tell the difference? I mean, so you just got to treat all of this activity, seriously, as there a new scan just coming in showing the, pretty rapid eastward movement of that line of storms now pushing into Wise County as we speak, just to the west of Big Stone Gap and Appalachia, and still to the west of Pound, but getting closer to that part of Wise County as well.
Yeah, we'll be pulling up the Big Stone Gap camera here soon as it approaches. So
let's do, if we could, maybe do a storm track as the line of storms to the west here in Wise and Lee County down toward Hancock County. See how that progresses over the next hour, perhaps. And
yeah, we'll do the northern part first.
Okay.
Take this out about an hour. So that puts it into Big Stone Gap by 3:12, Norton 3:18. Clintwood 3:28, Coburn 3:29, and Grundy by 3:52. Then as we head to the south on the southern part of the line,
I would imagine this is probably going to get pretty much.
Yeah, moving into Burgonsville by 3:30, Gate City 3:35, Kingsport by 3:48, and Bluntville closer to 4 o'clock.
So this would be a heads up for folks that might be out on the golf course right now, or maybe at one of our parks enjoying a family picnic that may not get the warnings on their cell phone or an update, or just maybe just having a good time. Weather doesn't look threatening right now. perhaps out on the lake. But you know, heads up, eventually this will be heading towards South Holston Lake and Watauga Lake. Right now staying largely north of Cherokee Lake, but it is continuing to rapidly move toward the Tri-Cities here over the next hour.
And we're getting several messages asking about coverage of the Indianapolis 500, and we're keeping an eye on that. And it was delayed due to weather, due to the same area of storms. So we definitely
I think
go
I
back
had
to
heard them
coverage
say
here.
that maybe they'll, I mean, we'll try to do split screens if we need to be on during that. And right now they're running, they were when I was looking a replay of last year's, I believe. I don't know if
Right,
still
and
on.
I have some information on that as too. It looks like the Indy pre-race is now set for about 4:30. Green flag approximately at 4:45, so still a few minutes out.
So you're not missing any of the race coverage, and if we need to, we can do a split screen so that you can watch the race. But they've had a weather delay due to this same line of storms. So just a heads up to those that are tuning in to watch the race. They'll be coming up later.
And so probably the earliest that would start would be around 4:45, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Kit, you said what time it's technically or approximately scheduled for?
Yeah, the green flag will be approximately 4:45.
Okay.
And just to kind of add a little information too, I was just checking the temperature there at the Tri-Cities Regional Airport. Even in the Tennessee side, I mean, it's moving into, if you will, a fairly juicy atmosphere, an unstable atmosphere. Temperatures is around 83 degrees at the top of the hour. Dew point at 67, so definitely some humidity, some moisture to work with.
Yeah, the warm and humid air of summer has arrived in the Tri-Cities. Thanks, Kit, for checking that out for us. And you know, we kind of think of the Memorial Day weekend as the unofficial start or kickoff to the summer season, and we've got the warm and humid conditions definitely in play, and with this instability and a disturbance and a cold front approaching, we're tracking you know, this initial wave of showers and storms coming in from the west right now, and will continue to be with us over the next probably 2 hours, and at least this first line of storms coming through, and then there are some storms and showers out across Middle Tennessee. Hopefully those will fall below severe limits as they come in toward us late this evening or late this afternoon and early this evening. But then another round perhaps developing again after midnight into early tomorrow morning. So we're keeping an eye on 3, but right now this is the one that may be the one that poses the highest severe threat for the Tri-Cities. We'll have to keep an eye on all of them though, but this is the one that we're watching closely here right now.
And over the past 15 minutes, this line of storms has produced 253 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So a lot of lightning, very heavy rains, and strong gusty winds, with the leading edge now very close to Pound and Jenkins, and just to the west of Wise and Norton. Moving into Big Stone Gap very soon, heads up in Duffield and Clinchport. Some of the heavy rains are falling over Pennington Gap and Blackwater, and just to the northwest of Hawkins County and Hancock County around Sneedville.
And one thing that I do want to point out, we've talked about this a little earlier, but if folks are just joining us, the reason we're staying on is that these are different level than the normal or typical base severe thunderstorm warning. You can even differentiate the slightly different color in these warnings here into Dickinson, Buchanan, as well as those extending into Lee County, Western Scott, and Wise County. Those were indicating possible tornadoes. Not tornado warnings, but the conditions along that line would be favorable for a brief spin-up tornado with very little to no warning, and that's why we're treating this a little bit more seriously than the average, you know, severe thunderstorm warning that we will get that might just involve a county or two as they push across our area. It may be a situation, unless they weaken, that we'll see these storms continue to move across the entire Tri-Cities area. Maybe not warnings for the southern part, as David pointed out a little while ago, that maybe this line of storms stays north of perhaps, and this is not a given, I mean, anytime you can see things develop southward, but it may stay north of Greenville, may stay north of Limestone, it may stay north of Irwin. That zone, just by eyeballing it here, you can see that it's kind of moving in this direction, but
there's
certainly...
there's the 3-hour loop.
And you can see that secondary line that I was talking about. At this point, the warnings extend not through Kentucky, but into Middle Tennessee around Nashville. So that we'll have to keep an eye on those storms as they continue to press southbound, but hopefully this line of storms will stabilize the atmosphere a little bit as we see it come through, but it won't necessarily do that in the southern part of the viewing area. This one here, this line of storms won't probably impact necessarily those areas I was pointing out earlier, but certainly this line would be heading toward Gate City and Kingsport, near and northeast of Rogersville, and then eventually toward the Bristol area and Abington, and in the next hour or so. And what time is that severe thunderstorm warning set to expire for western Scott, Lee, and in western Wise County?
So that warning is in effect until 3:30, and then the warning for Dickinson, Buchanan County, that's until 4 o'clock. Right there, 4 o'clock. And then going back into southeast Kentucky, into Letcher County, it'll be expiring here very soon, about 3:15.
And so what we would just want to reiterate is the fact that the storms are moving quickly, and we'll have that potential to produce the strong straight line wind damage as they continue to push eastward over the next hour or so. And as you mentioned with that StormTrack, David, that the storms likely would be pushing into the Kingsport and Gate City area, Rogersville very shortly, or just near north of Rogersville, up towards Segurinsville and Mount Carmel, and also Church Hill over the next half hour or so, and then points eastward as we go beyond that time frame. All right, so what we're going to do now is when we get some new information, we will break back in, but I'm assuming that within the next few minutes, potentially, we'll have a severe thunderstorm warning extending through Wise County and also into probably maybe the northeast part of Hawkins County and Scott County. And should these warnings become necessary for us to break in again and give you some pertinent emergency type situation information, we will break back in, but right now we just want to stress that these storms are moving and will be in the Tri-Cities within the next hour, and of course we will bring you updates as they become necessary. I'm sure you'll probably be looking at us here before long again, but just wanted to go back to regular programming right now, and just stay with News 5 at WCYB. Kit Alexander, David Boyd, and I will be here covering these storms and bringing you up-to-date information.
And I also want to mention that we are going to stay on Facebook and YouTube, so we're going to keep that stream going for some more information, and then if we get some more urgent information, then we'll come back on TV. But if you are concerned about the storms and want to know more, join us. We're also on our website, WCYB.com, and the News 5 app. You can watch the live stream there, along with YouTube and Facebook.
All right, we'll see you all in a little bit. Be safe, take these storms seriously. Yep. All right.
All right, so for those that are still watching on YouTube and Facebook, we'll keep the stream going. Now, there may be times where you don't hear us talking. We may just take a quick break, but we'll come back with some more information. So just stay with us here on YouTube, Facebook, or on our website, and we'll keep the radar up most of the time and then give you some more information as it comes in. So good afternoon, everyone. We're back now on Facebook and YouTube and on our website, wcyb.com. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has now been issued. And we pull up the latest information here. So this latest warning now includes most of Scott County, the rest of Wise County, and western Russell County. This is in effect until 4 p.m. We could see some gusts near 60 miles an hour, and a brief spin-up tornado is possible. The current rotation is not strong enough for a tornado warning, but we have been seeing some rotation along the line. The main concern would be damaging winds of 60 miles an hour, and the leading edge of the line is now moving into Duffield, and just west of Clinchport, over Big Stone Gap, moving into Norton and Wise.
So the entire line on the Virginia side, David, is under a severe thunderstorm warning now. This is Chief Meteorologist Dave Dirksen. We've got Meteorologist Kit Alexander.
There you go. Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Is also, so we got Meteorologist Kit Alexander, Dave Dirksen, David Boyd here tracking these storms. I'm Meteorologist Dave Dirksen. We're not on camera right now, but the thing that we've kind of seen happen as we progress the past couple of hours is the line of storm still continues to move rapidly to the east at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. We did have that one tornado warning in parts of Bell County and Lee County. That rotation has diminished sufficiently enough that we just have the severe thunderstorm warning, which for Scott County and Wise County, Russell, and up into Dickinson, Buchanan County, does not include the Kingsport area of Sullivan County, but it does include Gate City. So I would, if I were in the Kingsport area and you are out enjoying your Sunday afternoon, just be prepared for at the very least some gusty winds as this line of storms comes through. And with it being rushing off to the east around 55 to 60 miles an hour, it's not going to take but maybe a half hour, 45 minutes probably to get to Kingsport, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of lightning with this line of storms too, that's continuing to move eastward. So it's going to be moving into Norton and Wise very soon, moving into Pound very soon. The warning also includes Dickinson and Buchanan County. So all up and down this line, a severe thunderstorm warning with a strong thunderstorm over Idson and moving toward Okolona.
So I do believe we are popped back up on our cameras again. For folks that may just be joining us, we had been live on WCYB, and with the tornado threat diminishing, we have gone back to programming to allow folks to watch us here on YouTube and on Facebook and on our website at wcyb.com. But also we can continue to track these storms, and the newest bit of information, as Dave was pointing out, is that the severe thunderstorm warnings have now extended eastward into and including now Wise County, the rest of Wise County, most of Scott County, and now the western part of Russell County. So some of those towns and cities that are within that warning, obviously if you're in Big Stone Gap, you're already getting this storm, as well as the Norton, and just about ready to come into Wise and Pound and very close to Clintwood, but also extending now toward Duffield and just to the west of Gate City, right through this zone here, and it's racing in your direction. And the storms look like staying, at least the more intense part of the storm, staying north of Rogersville in Hawkins County, but will be, perhaps clipping the northern part of Hawkins County, maybe getting close to Burgoynesville, certainly some showers, but getting close to Burgoynesville and eventually toward Churchill, Mount Carmel, and then of course then we've got Gate City and Kingsport. All this within the western part of our metro needs to keep a close eye on this activity as it continues to push very quickly off to the east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour, with potentially, as you were pointing out here, here's kind of the basic information about the storm. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but overall the hail threat, as far as large hail, typically you think of what you need to get damage to cars and stuff like that. You need about 1-inch diameter hail, or about quarter-size hail. So the hail size not necessarily triggering the severe thunderstorm warning, maybe up to penny-size hail perhaps, but certainly we're concerned about the strong winds, straight-line damaging winds that could occur as this line of storms moves in to these areas where you see the flashing warnings right now, David.
And so we have severe thunderstorm warnings up and down this entire line. The northern part of this line is the warning is for Dickinson, Buchanan County until 4 p.m. for 60-mile-an-hour winds, potentially up to quarter-sized hail. Still watching for the potential of an isolated spin-up tornado. And then the other warning that we've been talking about that includes Wise County, Western Russell, and Scott County. But there's also an intense cell over Kyles Ford and Idson there in far northern sections of Hawkins County into Hancock County. So even though it's not technically in a warning, there's a lot of lightning and very intense rains and potentially some gusts around 40 to 50 miles an hour on that very southern edge and rain into Rogersville.
So that's kind of like that's the Tennessee and Virginia state line right there. So that little bit of the extension into Tennessee and Hawkins and Hancock County not being warned for, but like you mentioned, it still has potential for some strong winds and maybe obviously some intense lightning and some heavy rain, but maybe some small hail as well.
And kind of an estimate on perhaps when that storm will actually be rolling into perhaps Kingsport, around the Kingsport area, maybe about 3:45 to 4 o'clock. Just kind of a general estimate, heading towards Blunteville and also back into towards Bristol, possibly about 4:15 to 4:30 as we go through this evening.
Yeah, and that's good to point out how quickly these storms are moving, Kit. Thank you for that information. And that, what time is it right now? I don't have it.
Now it's the 3:24.
Yeah, so we're talking probably by 4:30. The bulk of this activity will be pushing through now. At that point, probably the eastern part of the metro area at that point. That's how quickly they're moving.
And back at 2:31, those gusts to 55 miles an hour in Ewing, Virginia, western Lee County, and 2:35, a gust of 48 miles an hour at the Harlan Airport there near in Harlan County, Kentucky.
And so, I mean, so we're not getting widespread measured gusts up to the severe limit. So, but that's not not a lot of places are measuring the wind speed. So that. With that said, certainly some 60-mile-an-hour gusts are possible with this line as it continues to push off to the east. And it does look like we're seeing quite a bit of lightning, as you were pointing out, maybe increasing a slight bit. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah,
a little bit, maybe not.
Yeah, over the whole part of our viewing area, 229 lightning strikes the past 15 minutes. It looks like the worst of this will probably stay north of Johnson City, but could clip Kingsport. It's been moving east-northeast. So it's going to be a close call for Kingsport.
And maybe Bristol also.
Yes. And, lightning can strike 10 miles away from the thunderstorm. So even if the heavy rain doesn't hit, there's still the lightning risk. And, of course, the wind risk, too.
And so that old saying, when thunder roars, move indoors. So if you can hear thunder, it's a good time to start moving that outdoor activity, that picnic, that golf match or golf game or what have you. If you're out on the lake, maybe start thinking about putting things back in an hour ahead of time, just so you can get safely back in to get that boat safely off the lake and everybody's safe as well. But hopefully the storms will weaken as they move eastward. At least we're not having any, at this juncture, no tornado warnings like we did maybe about an hour ago, but the warning still does indicate tornado possible. Which means that there is sufficient, wind velocity and shear within the storms to possibly create maybe some weak, brief rotation that might strengthen enough to result in a brief tornado. It would be, kind of random. It's not like we're expecting everybody to necessarily get under a tornado warning, or maybe nobody will, but just that tag itself at the end of the severe thunderstorm warning text, that tells us that it's being monitored very closely by the National Weather Service, and just to give us and you a heads up that is a possibility, albeit at this point is not happening on the ground or indicated by radar. So that is just a heads up with that tornado possible, what that means on the severe thunderstorm warning text. Typically, when we have severe thunderstorms, oftentimes, especially as we get into summer, we get the air mass thunderstorms. They pop up, they kind of rain themselves out, and so we don't have that added dimension to the warning like tornado possible. So this is just kind of one step up from the typical severe thunderstorm warning that we get during the storm season, which of course we're now in the middle of right now. But there's a storm track, David, taking us through the next hour, and you can see this does include Clintwood around right now, to Coburn, and then Gate City about 3:45, Hayside about 3:40, St. Paul around 3:45 or so. Likewise around Castlewood, and then Bloomingdale in the Kingsport area around 3:52. Cleveland and Russell County around 3:54, then Lebanon about 4 o'clock, and then Honaker in the northern part of Russell County around 4:04, and that would take it pretty close to Bristol as well around, I guess that would be around 4 o'clock, 4:15, I would assume, if, you know, we're kind of going a little bit further beyond that hour track.
And
Yeah.
Dave, I know for those
Or
areas in
half-hour track.
for like Northeast Tennessee, some of the areas that's still not under a warning, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch, though, meaning that the conditions are still conducive for the development of severe thunderstorms as we go through the evening. This lasts until 9 o'clock. That includes our Tennessee counties and our Southwest Virginia counties as well. I know we have the warnings right now for parts of Southwest Virginia, but severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect, though, for Northeast Tennessee. So even through the evening, still could get maybe a few showers, maybe something possibly stronger severe as we go through the evening.
Yeah, I would assume that probably the severe thunderstorm watch is going to be right now for the next couple of hours for the Tri-City region with this line. But like you mentioned, Kit, there are other storms and showers. I'm not sure if we can go to that quickly. Not quickly, or just go to it. Didn't mean to rush you, David. To another line of storms that's developing here. Not developing, but moving across the southeastern portions of Kentucky, here between London and then toward the Nashville area. In fact, much of the metro area of Nashville now is under severe thunderstorm warnings. That part of Tennessee is also under a tornado watch. Not sure when exactly that expires. I think it was, what, 4 p.m. or so?
Yeah, I'll pull that up just so we can see. Yeah, that.
And so we'll have to keep an eye on, and so that tornado watch is basically continuing for them for that second line of storms that has developed and moving through Kentucky. On the Kentucky side, as you saw a little bit ago on the radar, there weren't any warnings, but certainly the metro area, especially right, you know, near downtown and points east and the south side of Nashville right now, are going to be getting a severe thunderstorm with some damaging wind potential. So this will have to be watched, and as we had talked about a little earlier, what would be best case scenario for us is this area of storms and showers coming through might stabilize the atmosphere a little bit through eastern Kentucky and southwest Virginia. And hopefully as that secondary line of storms comes in, it might weaken or stay below severe limits. I say, though, with a little asterisk, is that this line of storms probably will not be impacting with any great coverage or intensity the southern part of the viewing area. So this area will still have kind of an atmosphere that has not been worked over by any showers and thunderstorms. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that activity in the Nashville area that's continuing to move more south and east, and see how that holds together or doesn't hold together. We'll have to just track it over the next couple of hours. But Kit's right, we'll have to keep an eye on the storms beyond what's coming through the Tri-Cities region, not the Tri-Cities per se at this very minute, but Tri-Cities region right now.
Yeah, looking at the temperatures, definitely rain-cooled air. In Lee County, we're at 64, 72 in Wise County. But as you mentioned, the Tri-Cities, it's still 83 degrees, 81 in Morristown, 60s in Middlesboro, but it's 85 in Knoxville. So the southern areas still have a lot of energy available for storms later.
Yep.
So we'll be monitoring that. So the severe thunderstorms currently are across southwest Virginia. The far eastern part of Hancock County has a strong thunderstorm, but as you go further south into Hawkins County, it's mainly rain, a few lightning strikes around Rogersville and Burgoynesville, and then it's just some sprinkles down to exit 30 and some light rain in Baileyton. So the thunderstorm activity is further to the north, with the warning stretching from Dickinson, Buchanan County southward through Wise and Scott County, and also includes western Russell County. So the southern part of the line, the warning in effect until 4 p.m. with a risk of 60-mile-an-hour winds. Can't rule out an isolated tornado with some rotation in the atmosphere. And then the northern part of the line, the warning in effect until 4 p.m. So the storm now in Clintwood, and we'll be moving into Hayside soon, moving into Clinchco and Nora soon. Breaks Interstate Park, there's probably a lot of people there enjoying Memorial Day weekend. The storms will be impacting you very soon. They're just to the west, and then eventually into Grundy as well. So let's do another storm track.
And the thing to kind of keep in mind while you're pulling up that track is the severe potential with the line as it comes through won't last, any more than a half an hour, 15
Right.
minutes, half an hour, then some rain behind it. But the initial line of storms, as it arrives, that's when the winds will likely, if it's going to produce any damaging wind gusts, that's when it will happen. So we're not, saying that you have to, hunker down for a long period of time with any of the storms as we go through the next 2 or 3 yet maybe to follow. One, like I said, late or early this evening, and then perhaps overnight. But this is the part of the storm right through here that has the potential for the strong winds, the intense rain, the dangerous lightning, maybe some small hail, and like you indicated, still maybe an isolated spin-up tornado as well. But go ahead, there's the communities that are going to see this storm here shortly.
Yeah, it's moving into Clintwood and Clinchco very soon, the next few minutes, into Hayside by around 3:40, Castlewood 3:48, Grundy 3:53, and Lebanon around 4 o'clock. So that's the northern part of the line. We'll do the southern part now.
And it looks like the pretty intense part of the storm also is kind of right now in the southern and southwest part of Scott County,
yes.
David, and that'll be bearing down on the Gate City and Weber City area, Clinchport, probably about right now, and then coming close to Kingsport. Now, I mean, you look at the color enhancement. This is where the intense rain is, the reflectivity. You can just kind of see that it breaks up as far as intensity as you come south of the Virginia-Tennessee border into Hawkins County near 11W there. But this is going to get very close. The intense part of the storm is going to get very close to the Kingsport area, especially the northern part of the Bloomingdale, that area of Kingsport, maybe not so much further south toward Colonial Heights, but everybody just needs to probably just hunker down until it moves through, regardless if it's severe or not, obviously. Right.
And so moving into Gate City basically now, especially the western part of Gate City, Coburn about now, and to Nicholsville about 3:44, St. Paul about 3:50, and into Hansonville about 4 o'clock. So let's zoom into the Kingsport area, as you were mentioning. The most intense part of the cell looks to be near Gate City. And it's interesting, there's not as much lightning along the leading edge.
I know,
here.
I noticed that.
It's more back to the west, near and west of Duffield is where most of the lightning seems to be.
So maybe what's happening, this part of the line may start to diminish, and this may be something new, maybe being developed by the gust front itself. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be something that starts to take off a little bit more here over the next 15 minutes to half hour, I don't know, but that is interesting that we don't have as much lightning with this where the heavier rain is, and there's more back to the west. But certainly some intense rain. Travel not so pleasant there west of Gate City, now heading up toward Fort Blackmore and so forth. Again, there's the Kingsport, there's Lynn Garden, there's Bloomingdale, there's Mount Carmel, there's Church Hill. So, with some heavier showers coming and thunderstorms coming, onto the upper end of Hawkins County there. But this here segment of the storm in Scott County, now near Gate City, is the more intense part of the storm as it continues to move eastward. Here's a look at our Dobbins-Bennett camera, and there's Bays Mountain, looking at some threatening skies right now, but it still is dry at this part of Kingsport. In fact, most of Kingsport still is dry at this hour. But the storms are getting closer, obviously, as we showed you on radar just a minute ago. But just heads up that from near Gate City now is where the heavier part of that rain is, and then extending back down toward Church Hill. So it's coming up 11W toward Mount Carmel and the Kingsport area, but certainly not as intense as the line looked maybe about an hour ago, especially on the Tennessee side of the storms. But definitely coming down now in Norton. This is a look at downtown area. There's Park Avenue. Some rain happening, obviously, and temperatures have probably dropped off into the 60s, I would imagine, at the Lonesome Pine Airport now in Wise. But it's going to cool things off, but we're not getting any relief from the humidity quite yet. That's coming, though, down the road as the front comes through. We're going to see a big transformation in the overall weather pattern later this week with cooler and less humid air. And, of course, that's what makes spring storms volatile, is that transition, and we're experiencing one over the next 24 hours with potentially up to 3 waves of showers and storms, the first one coming through tonight, right now, and perhaps another one this evening. evening that may hopefully be weakening, and then perhaps another one coming at us after midnight toward tomorrow morning. So we'll be keeping track of all three of those, but imminently this is what we're keeping an eye on. Look at all those lightning strikes during the past 30 minutes, 714, and the Tennessee and Virginia state line is pretty much the dividing line between the intense lightning to just a couple of strikes, as you saw there in Hawkins County near Rogersville. Slipping a little bit southward into Hancock and Hawkins County, obviously, but the more intense part of that storm is in Scott County.
Right, especially the heaviest rain there. Gate City, Fort Blackmore, moving into Nicholsville very soon. Northward of Coburn, about to see the heaviest rain. Clintwood's getting the downpours in Clinch Cove very soon. And there looks like there will be some rain pushing into Kingsport, and certainly it's possible to get some lightning strikes, and then less likely further south, where things are fairly clear at the moment.
I guess I got a new little warning there south of, or near Asheville. Got some stuff blossoming there, so that might be, looks like heading up toward our North Carolina counties potentially.
Right.
Yancey and Mitchell County would be the first counties there in our viewing area that might see some of that action. That has a warning with it now to the south and west of Asheville, North Carolina, but at this point staying clear of the viewing area, but getting closer. Just want to point that out into North Carolina maybe here over the next hour. But right now we're keeping a close eye on that activity, moving now through central northern Scott County into the northern part of Hawkins County, and has pretty much come across Norton and Wise with the heavy rain, but heads up Coburn and eventually St. Paul, and then as we go into Russell County, we've got Castlewood and Cleveland, of course, and then been moving through Dickinson, Buchanan counties as well.
I believe this is a new report from 214, Bell County in Middlesboro. Many trees down around the city of Middlesboro. So
that's about when we had that tornado warning too for Bell County and western Lee counties. So, I mean, certainly not proclaiming a tornado, but certainly that's when the storms were definitely producing some stronger winds, or strong winds. I can't say there aren't now, but that's when we had that tornado warning for Bell and Lee County earlier. But no tornado warnings now, but we do have a solid area of severe thunderstorm warnings extending from Dickinson and Buchanan County through the eastern part of Wise, western Russell, good part of Scott County. And next would be, I would assume, Washington County, and the remainder of Russell County would be the next area to be put under the severe thunderstorm warning. I mean, I guess a bit of good news for Tri-Cities area of Tennessee. The storms on that side of this segment of storms has seemingly lost a lot of its intensity, but it is clipping Kingsport and of course crashing into Gate City now with some heavy rain as well.
Right, and the rain's picking up over Church Hill, and the rain will be picking up in Kingsport.
We've got
So
that volunteer high school camera.
Yeah.
We could pop that up perhaps. It doesn't look like anything particularly intense right now over Churchill, about right here, but could be just a little brief period of some heavy rain coming through right now there near Churchill, between Sir Groinsville and Churchill, heading up toward Mount Carmel. There in the upper east part of Hawkins County. It looks like Rogersville, you had a little bit of light rain, maybe a brief moderate shower, but the bulk of this storm did stay north, and I didn't think there'd probably be too much, but certainly there is a heavy shower, maybe a rumble of thunder set to come through this part of Hawkins County here over the next 10 minutes or even less if you're on the backside of that area. But that's what's going to kind of clip the Kingsport area here shortly with some brief heavy rain, some gusty winds potentially, and some lightning. But right now the heavier part looks to be staying just north of Kingsport. And when I say just north, just barely north, including the Weber City, Gate City area of Scott County, where there is a severe thunderstorm warning, and where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning flashing until 4 p.m. Again, indicated radar severe storm, and there have been a couple of storm reports confirmed in Lee County and to the west into Kentucky. So that this line of storms has had a history of producing some wind damage to trees. I think David had even read that maybe some shingles had been blown off a roof of a structure. But this appears stretching from near well, Pikeville through the Clintwood area, now toward Coburn, and then toward Gate City. That's where the strongest part of this line of storms continues to move east at about 55 miles per hour. And so this is that warning that was issued well in advance of the storm coming in, and for good reason. I remember when you first brought that warning up, David,
right? Yeah.
that storm was not even yet into Pike County, and it was, you know, we're going, why is Dickinson County? There's nothing there. Well, it was that warning was good through 4 o'clock, and they may have to extend it a little bit beyond 4 o'clock. But you can see here we are at 3:43, and that storm is over Dickinson County, around Nora and Fremont and Clintwood and Clinchco up toward Birchleaf and Hayside, breaks Interstate Park, and we'll soon be moving into the Grundy area in Van Sant and Davenport toward Garden, and there's Whitewood. So while it may have to be extended beyond the 4 o'clock hour, it would be mainly for the eastern part of this zone that is currently flashing. But certainly could be some strong winds up to 60 miles an hour, could cause some tree damage, could blow around some items that may be on your porch that may not be securely fastened. Stuff like that you can maybe still have time to secure before the storm moves in. Again, it's going to be a quick shot of wind. It's not something that's going to last a long time, but it could produce some of those gusts of wind up to 60 miles per hour and perhaps up to penny-sized hail, 3/4 of an inch, but probably less than severe hail with this storm, which is considered to be about the size of quarters, is what's kind of determined to be what severe hail is. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of damage to cars and stuff like that from the hail, but perhaps from trees and stuff like that from power lines that could be affected if we get some tree limbs to come down in spots. So that's the end result, maybe some of the activity that comes through in these zones. So here's Kingsport, looking from Dobbins Bennett again, and still nothing too dramatic happening, but definitely some
dark, ominous skies.
Ominous clouds there over Bays Mountain, and it would appear that perhaps the heavy rain has already come through Pennington Gap in Lee County.
Yeah, camera's back now. It went out temporarily when the storm hit. We can see the wet streets there, and also in Grundy where the storms will be moving in pretty soon. So let's go back to the radar here. So we're seeing some downpours over Hilton's, and we'll be getting an update soon from the National Weather Service on if severe thunderstorm warnings, if it's either a severe thunderstorm warning or a strong storm alert will come out.
For the
yeah, we'll see if anything is issued for Washington County, Virginia. Sorry, I was reading something from the National Weather Service. They were mentioning about the storms popping up here southwest of Knoxville, and there's a warning just came up. So they're concerned about these cells too.
And those are moving to the northeast as well. So that could, be something we'll have to keep an eye on.
And they're starting with the severe thunderstorm warning, but tornado possible there on the west side of, to the west of Farragut. So that would be near the 40,
I don't know if you can
75
put
split.
a wind velocity scan on there or not and see what that looks like. It looks kind of interesting there where we got the tail.
Yeah, seeing some rotation. So I think they were concerned about how quickly it formed.
Exactly. I mean, it's just kind of evolving right now. So,
and let me pull up the hour loop. You can see how quickly it developed.
Like within the last 10, 15 minutes,
it's
really blown up.
And that the atmosphere is very unstable. It's highly sheared. So they were noticing a supercellular. So these were the more typical type of thunderstorms we were talking about. We get the lines, we get the cells, and usually the cells have the higher potential to produce tornadoes, or at least the stronger ones.
Right.
But they can happen along lines, especially when there's some kinks in the lines, which happened earlier around Middlesboro and into western Lee County. At least on radar, there was radar indicated tornado. Nothing confirmed at this hour.
But that's the one that would be coming. I mean, if it comes and holds together, that definitely would be something for areas around Hamlin County and Cott County and eventually maybe Greene County, and plus this activity that's forming to the west of Interstate 75 as well. So all of this needs to be very closely monitored here over the next couple of hours for sure.
I don't know if we could perhaps take Max 2. We have got a couple rather interesting cloud photos that came in. Yeah, how about this? This is from Rhonda there in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. So I believe we're looking at maybe some aspiratus undulatus, not to get too technical with the name, but definitely some turbulence there looking in the atmosphere.
Did you sneeze? Just kidding.
Aspiratus
you're
undulatus.
right. But just looking at that, you can just almost see turbulent written all over that with the way the wavy nature of those clouds are. But that's a great picture. Thanks, Kid, and thanks, Rhonda, for sharing that with us. Definitely turbulent sky when you see clouds like that. If we could just keep that turbulence. Oh, we just got an update on a severe thunderstorm warning.
Severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll take a look at the latest on this. They're still keeping that tornado possible tag, winds of 60 miles an hour. So still keeping that same type of concern here.
So that's going to be, that would include the Bristol, Virginia side of Bristol, but probably even especially toward Mendota and Benhams and up toward Abington of the Washington County area of Bristol and southwest Virginia there. That would probably be the area that especially needs to be hunkered down regarding the possible strong winds and the intense rain and lightning with that.
Right.
Okay, so what we did there, we're going to go ahead and alert the crew in the production room that we're going to be breaking into WCYB to let folks know that are watching. Not sure if it's, still the...
Yeah, it's still the pre-race coverage.
Right, and let them know the new update here with the severe thunderstorm warning that will be in effect until 4:45. But anyway, we're going to continue our coverage here on Facebook and YouTube, but we may just have to stop for a moment to let WCYB to let our viewers know that we're coming in there as well. But anyway, that's what we were kind of conferring with each other about, and we can see that storm now. That the warning now is extended into Russell County, the rest of Russell County, and all of Washington County, Virginia, until 4:45. That storm continues to push off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. As David noted, that the tornado possible tag continues to remain with this line of storms, not necessarily indicated by radar or anything like that, so it's not a tornado warning, but the conditions are favorable yet along the line of that line of storms for the possibility of a spin-up, a brief spin-up tornado within that new warning that just came out until 4:45 for areas of Russell and also southeastern Scott and into Washington County, Virginia. So David's going to do a little track of this, and you can see some of the communities here that are going to be in line for this storm. So that would include areas around Mendota, around 352, Cleveland in about 7 minutes, Lebanon about 4 o'clock or so, Greendale in Washington County, Virginia around 4:07, Honaker, upper end of Russell County around 4:09, Abington about 4:14, Meadowview about 4:19, Saltville, now this is pushing into Smith County, around 4:24, Broadford about 4:29, and Chilhowie about 4:31. And that is that new severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45, and that is for this line of storms that continues to move across areas of Buchanan, Dickinson, and now moving into Russell, through Scott, and eventually now into Washington County, Virginia. All that area in southwestern Virginia under a severe thunderstorm warning. We do not have any warnings for the metro part of northeast Tennessee. We do on the Virginia side, but not on the metro side of northeast Tennessee. But there are a couple of storms that are going to be right kind of grazing the Tennessee-Virginia border. David, I guess you got a new storm report.
Yeah, new storm report. This was from 3 p.m. in Harlan County. Big Black Mountain 51-mile-an-hour gust when those storms came through.
All right, so that's enough to take down possibly, some tree branches, that kind of a wind gust.
So it looks like the worst of this cell is now moving into St. Paul and Castlewood, near Mendota, and heading toward Hansonville. and getting the rain coming down in Kingsport. As you mentioned, the warning is for the Virginia side into Scott County. Includes the city of Bristol, Virginia, and also into Washington County, Virginia. So this is for a gust of 60 mile an hour, also some strong, potentially damaging winds. There's some frequent lightning as well. We'll pull out and show you the big picture. So we have storms that are moving into Grundy on the northern part of this line. Moving into, is over Hayside, moving into Davenport, moving into St. Paul and Castlewood. Heads up in Lebanon. Storms are just to the west of Benhams.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
A cell popping up there on the southeast side of Bristol. Some heavy rains. Not seeing any lightning with that yet.
But that's just something that could continue to grow. I mean, these things typically do start like that, and then it can get pretty intense pretty quickly. But right here, David, this kind of here from your Castlewood, this little bowing structure right there, that perhaps around Mendota, near Hilton's Mendota up toward Castlewood. So heads up, you know, Hansonville, Lebanon, might see some strong winds with that particular part of this line as it continues to push into and through western Russell County, and also now just beginning to enter Washington County, Virginia. A little shower there, Bristol, Virginia, as you pointed out, and a heavy downpour on the south side of Bristol. But that right there is certainly, it catches your eye and needs to be monitored, and could have some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour with it. And as you had pointed out a little while ago, there's not a ton of lightning and thunder that, you know, sometimes precede a pretty powerful storm like this. So you may not be getting the persistent rumble thunder that oftentimes precedes these. You can see strike there, strike there, strike there. So there is some. It's just not prolific like sometimes that we expect. But there certainly is some thunder with this and some cloud ground lightning strikes. I was just kind of pointing out that it's not as intense and continuous and prolific lightning that we had earlier with this line of storms as it continues to push eastward through Scott County and to the northwest of Bristol up into western Russell County and into the eastern part of Dickinson County, and now just about pushing in, and it has pushed into the Grundy area of Buchanan County as well, moving off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So
Okay, so we're continuing to monitor some severe thunderstorms moving into Grundy right now, into Van Sant, moving eastward toward Whitewood, Oakwood, and Davenport. Also severe thunderstorms over St. Paul and Castlewood, moving into Cleveland, Lebanon, and Hansonville, over Mendota right now. And these severe thunderstorm warnings are all into Southwest Virginia at the moment. These are all the warnings that are in effect. The newest warning includes all of Washington County, Virginia, and Russell County. This is in effect till 4:45. Some small hail, some gusts of 60 miles an hour, and a tornado possible, not strong enough rotation for a tornado warning. But we are concerned about the possibility of a spin-up tornado. And then a new warning. This is for far northern Buchanan County. It's an extension of the same one. So we're wanting to give everybody a heads up here on this holiday weekend. If you know somebody with outdoor plans, they're out in these areas, give them a heads up that these storms have been producing some wind damage. We'll be back in just a moment with some more storm updates. Stay with us here on YouTube, Facebook, and also on our website.
I can, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, from the StormTrack. I think we're not calling it yet. You can hear them, right?
I haven't yet.
Oh, he's been done. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, from the StormTrack 5 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Dirks, and we've got meteorologist David Boyd and Kit Alexander covering a line of severe storms now moving across southwest Virginia. And we do want to just quickly update you on the progression of these storms and a new warning that has come out for parts of southwest Virginia. A new one here, David.
That's right, and this includes all of Washington County, Virginia, and Russell County. This is in effect till 4:45. Severe thunderstorm warning for gusts to 60 miles an hour and some small hail, torrential downpours, and there's the possibility of a spin-up tornado because we have seen some rotation along this line, but most concerned about straight line wind damage and the downpours moving into Lebanon very soon.
And so this line of storms extends all the way up into Dickinson County and Buchanan County as well, where severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect until 4 o'clock this afternoon. But I do want to point out also that these storms are not severe on the Tennessee side of the line, but we do have
now been extended.
So they do have an extension of that severe thunderstorm warning now for Buchanan County and eastern Dickinson County until 4:45. So basically all along this line from Buchanan, Dickinson County through Russell County and then southbound through Washington County and Russell County, now all under a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. Main danger, 60-mile-an-hour gusts, possibly some hail up to penny size, as well as some intense rainfall as these storms move off to the east at about 60 miles per hour or so. The overall coverage of the storms as far as the severity is mainly north of the Tennessee and Virginia state line, so we do not have any severe thunderstorm warning for the metro area of Tennessee, though we are seeing a little bit of new development near South Holston Lake. But do be mindful that we're seeing new storms flaring up now, getting close to Knoxville, between Lenoir City and Knoxville, and also toward Powell. There is a severe thunderstorm warning with circulation indicating that there is a tornado possible with that, but not a warning for a tornado at this point. And that is going to be moving in the direction of northeast Tennessee. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that for, areas eventually toward Hamlin County and maybe Cott County and Hawkins and Greene County. That, still ways away, but imminently severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45 for Washington County, Virginia, into Russell County, and also eastern part of Dickinson County and the eastern part of Buchanan County. Right up through that zone there. Now, we are going to bring this back to the coverage of the Indianapolis 500, but do want to let you know that we will be continuing our wall-to-wall coverage on our YouTube and Facebook page, WCYB, as well as on our website.
Yeah, you can watch at WCYB.com, in our News 5 app, and as Dave mentioned, on the WCYB YouTube page, and then also on our Facebook pages. So you join us for continuous coverage, and we'll continue to break into programming here on News 5 WCYB as the conditions warrant. Anything else, Dave?
That's good. We'll see y'all then. Be safe.
This is a StormTrack 5 severe weather alert.
So for those still watching on YouTube and Facebook and our website, we'll keep updating you here. We will occasionally take a few quick breaks, but we will come back occasionally with some updates here. So stay with us, and we also have information in our StormTrack 5 app. So here is the latest now on the severe thunderstorm warning. So the heavy rain is now moving through Hansonville, moving into Lebanon right now. It's over Cleveland, over Davenport, and moving toward Whitewood. So the warning for Russell and Washington County is in effect till 4:45.
And it looks like this particular storm is increasing in coverage and intensity here on the south side of Bristol as well, which is, this looks like it's right pretty much over South Holston Lake. So obviously boaters need to be already docked and off the lake there, but the severe component of this line segment continues to be largely focused across portions of Southwest Virginia, where our lightning tracker indicating within the past 30 minutes, the brighter ones are the most recent ones, that we've had as many as 312 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes within the past 30 minutes. So even though a storm may not be severe, lightning accompanies every storm or every thunderstorm, and that can be as dangerous for those being outdoors, whether you're out on a tractor in the farm field or out on a golf course or out on the lake. That can be a dangerous component of the storm, not just for this event, but as we head through the summer season, any storm that develops, sometimes referred to as the silent killer, because it doesn't grab headline news when it happens, but lightning, one of the major causes of injury and death with thunderstorms across the country. And right now we have some of that heavier activity pushing through areas from near Benhams in the north and west part of Washington County, Virginia, north of Bristol, and getting set to move along Highway 19 along the Russell-Washington County line near Brumley Gap, and then that's bearing down now on the Lebanon area as well. So that's about where we were talking, along the Washington-Russell County line. Here's a look at our Ashley Camera Network partner, IGO camera here along Highway 19, US 58, right just barely into Russell County along the Washington and Russell County line. Just before you come to that split that would take you up toward Norton or toward Lebanon. So this area under the gun now with some heavy rain currently, maybe some small hail, and as you can see there, we may have lost the live stream connection, but there have been some gusty winds with that area right now over Hansonville in Russell County, Virginia. So that is about where
we have a new warning
right there.
They've extended the warnings now. Let me get the latest here into Smith County. This same line of storms, there we go. Go over a little bit more. So for 60-mile-an-hour winds.
And that's until 5:15.
Yes.
So that pretty much takes us through within the next hour and 7 minutes or so, into the easternmost part of our viewing area here in Grayson County and then into Wythe County, but all of Smith County now under a severe thunderstorm warning for this line of storms that is still well west of the Smith and Washington County line, but moving so quickly, we're getting advanced warnings ahead of it. But this we're still seeing that little bow echo right through here.
Yeah.
Another one here through the eastern part of Buchanan County. So, I mean, there certainly is going to be some strong
Brumley Gap
winds.
and Greendale.
Yeah, that Hansonville camera that we were showing you just a minute ago, that's the location we were showing you, and look how quickly that leading edge of the storminess is moving off to the east and southeast around Greendale now, getting close to the Abington area along here, along Highway 19. So this is moving, is it kind of low, is it moving due east or is it kind of sliding? No, just due east. So the intense part of that storm may just kind of graze near the downtown area of Abington, points northward, but then we're seeing a little appendage down here, so that could be some showers that may not produce severe wind, but would be heading in toward the southern part of Washington County. And then we've got that new development near South Holston Lake along Highway 421 up into southeast parts of Washington County, Virginia. That's going to be pushing toward the Shady Valley area of Johnson County, as well as the northern tip of Carter County near Sadie. So that's new and developing. I just point that out because that's how these things start. We'll see if they continue to grow in coverage or intensity. But right now, the severe component of the storm being warned for is all across southwest Virginia currently, David.
Yeah, that warning for Russell County, Washington County, Virginia, till 4:45 for 60-mile-an-hour winds, the possibility of a spin-up tornado. And we're seeing some of the heaviest rains just northwest of Abington. Now, the winds can gust sometimes out ahead of that line, but very close to the airport. We'll be pulling up that camera here momentarily. See what this scene looks like there.
So, yeah, I'd say there's a couple of cameras we could be looking at. I think the tower cam may not be delivering but live stream, but now we could also go to perhaps not there yet, but a couple of locations that you can stay tuned for that we'll be able to show you would be the Emory and Henry cam within the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and also we got
oh, look at this,
the Virginia Tech STEM camera.
Looks like a shelf cloud there.
Yep. What direction are we looking there?
We're actually looking west there. I want to step on here just a moment.
And so that would be moving toward the airport right now.
Yeah, let me turn it around. That certainly looks like a shelf cloud there. You see the heavy rains. We'll turn it around a little bit more. So yeah, this is more.
That would be north, I guess.
Yeah, looking to the north, because the storm is just to the northwest of there. We'll spin on around just a little bit more. So certainly some ominous skies.
And a shelf cloud precedes the line. It's kind of the leading edge of the line of storms. And typically you are going to see your strong winds right as or right before the shelf cloud arrives. And so I would imagine that we're seeing at least some gusty winds. I'm not saying that we're going to see severe winds within that shelf cloud, but certainly some gusty winds. And we do have that severe thunderstorm warning. So locally, there could be some gusts up to around 60 miles per hour as this storm you know, comes over and near and to the north of Abington in Washington County, Virginia. Staying, at least the severe part of the storm looks to be staying north of Bristol, but there's
the airport there, just in the middle. So we were looking from
there it
here.
is. All right, I wasn't seeing that very correctly.
Yeah, right there.
So this is kind of where that shelf cloud was, right in this this area,
Yeah.
right through here. And so there's Abington, there's the old farm, there's Wallace, there's Clear Creek Golf Course, there's Bristol, Virginia. So the part that we were kind of focusing in on looks to stay north of Bristol, but heading right toward Abington, Virginia, with possible strong gusty winds. Definitely some intense rainfall and some occasional cloud-to-ground lightning strikes will be possible with that storm as it continues to move through that part of Washington County, Virginia. So there's the wind speed, direction, and the stronger wind gusts at that level. And you got to remember, these winds are being calculated from a radar beam that's being disseminated from Morristown, and due to the curvature of the Earth, the farther away you get from that, the higher up that the wind speeds are being recorded or registered by Doppler radar. So it's a little bit more difficult to get close to ground wind reports from Doppler radar when you get farther away from the radar. But you can see that we did have some strong winds at that level.
Yes.
With the yellows and the oranges.
There's the latest scan showing the downpours just northwest of downtown Abington. It's over Greendale, or Rich Valley Road, and for Black Hollow Road near Widdale. So this is part of the intense part of the line. A quick tour northward, the storms are moving into Honeacre and Rosedale, and also into Whitewood. The severe thunderstorm warning extended into Tazewell and Smith counties too.
And that's until 4:45.
Right. And then back on the southern edge, we're still seeing some thunderstorms near Benhams. And so there's not a lot of thunderstorm activity on the Bristol, Tennessee side, although there's now some lightning strikes over South Holston Lake. The most intense part of the cell is just to the north, with some torrential downpours on the northwest side of Abington.
Right near Greendale, but very, very close to Abington as these things are moving so quickly. We had been keeping an eye also, David, on that storm in the Knoxville area. I'd be curious as to, well, let's get the Virginia Highlands. I'm sure we got some.
There we go.
Maybe not the heavy rain quite over the airport, but certainly it's getting close. This is looking north toward that storm that is approaching this area. So it's still largely north of Interstate 81, this intense part of the storm, but is getting very close to the Virginia Highlands Airport here with the dark sky. There's kind of the remnant of that shelf cloud that we were showing you earlier. It's pushing off to the east now. Probably can see that in Abington right now as it comes over or close to the downtown area. You can also see not destructive winds, but the trees are swaying a little bit, so there are some strong gusty winds and again, this is just one spot. 2 miles down the road there might be a 60-mile-an-hour gust, but I just want to point out that there are some gusty winds, not necessarily severe winds, but Lee Highway, which is right here, is looking still dry, but this tree waving a little bit here. So we are seeing some gusty winds here at the airport, the Virginia Highlands Airport, right near exit 13 along Interstate 81 and Lee Highway. And that storm is bearing down on Abington, which would be kind of running. Abington would be in this direction from where we're looking right now on the Virginia Highlands Airport cam. So you can see there, basically, here's kind of where we've got the High Airport, and then there's Johnson Memorial Hospital. Abington is between those two right there, and certainly some very intense rainfall currently near and north of Abington, and as you mentioned, David, also back toward Benhams in Washington County, Virginia.
Yeah, watching that back edge of the line there, Dave.
Yeah.
Northwest of Bristol near Benhams. Just going to mention that has just a little bit of a hook structure, but so far no shear. But like we've been talking about, they've included in all these warnings tornado possible. Okay, so that's just something that you just keep in the back of your mind, front of your mind, really, as these storms come through. That there's at least a small potential that one of these could spin up a small tornado or brief tornado as these
storms evolve and push eastward. And like David said, with that kind of kink right through there in the line.
Yeah, back
This
here
is-
over Benham's.
It's
Yeah.
kind of an area we watch, but when you put the shear map up on there, not the velocity, but the shear wasn't really indicating anything that at this point result in a tornado warning becoming necessary. But that,
Right.
just the look of the reflectivity and even a little bit of a interesting look with the velocity, but certainly not
Yeah,
a
it's-
tornadic signature or
Right,
anything
it's
like that.
broad rotation at the most, so something we'll just continue to monitor. We check the latest storm reports, see if anything new has come in. Now we have something in Gate City. So this is a new storm report from 340. A tree down 5 inches in diameter. So that is a fairly healthy sized tree that was knocked down there, Dave.
Right, and that is the kind of damage I'm sure that we are seeing. I mean, when you see a line of storms, even when there isn't warnings, we have so many trees around our area that they go down all the time, but may not get reported. So I'm sure we're getting trees going down other than, or at least branches other than that's being officially, informed and given to the National Weather Service. So here comes, I guess, that storm near Knoxville has.
Yeah, and actually there's other storms that are developing out ahead of it. So this does include extreme western Hawkins County, extreme western Hancock County, and also into Hamlin County. So this is for a severe thunderstorm near Corrington there in Knox County, moving northeast, potential for quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour gust, and tornado possible. So these storms are trying to rotate,
Right.
and unfortunately these may be moving into northeast Tennessee here over the next couple of hours.
Even probably before then,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah, right, from west to east, but,
Right.
but yeah, into western areas over the next 30 to
Yeah.
60 minutes.
So heads up with that storm developing now to the west-southwest of Morristown and west-southwest of Bulls Gap, and then eventually coming up toward Hawkins, Hancock County as it continues to evolve and push off to the northeast. But what's the hail tracker look like on that right now, that activity?
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Not a lot of large hail, and seeing some rotations. That's why they're going mainly with the severe thunderstorm warning.
Right.
But this is primarily a damaging wind risk along with downpours, but it could spin up into a tornado because we're definitely seeing some hook structures on the radar here.
You got that there, we got one right here,
Yeah.
we got one right there, and another one back here to the southwest.
Right.
Of
So that's just a
the
heads
western
up for
Knoxville.
what's coming later.
But right now,
This cell is intensified southeast of Marion, south of
Yeah.
Sugar Grove.
that's right along the Grayson, Smith, and Wythe County line, largely very rural, but moving up through the high country there along areas east of Troutdale, east of Grayson Highlands. But that storm, as you mentioned, just flaring up here within the past few minutes, got a little purple color there in the reflectivity, so likely there could be some at least penny-sized hail with that storm.
Now the heavy rain is over all of Abington. Check in with the camera again.
Probably the heaviest rain just to the northeast of Virginia Highlands Airport camera. But we will probably get a pretty good view of the Glade Spring camera. Here's the Virginia Highlands live stream currently. Looks probably a little bit of rain, but nothing particularly intense coming down right now. But certainly, as you travel up Interstate 81 and Lee Highway toward downtown Abington, is no doubt coming down pretty hard. You can almost see the heavy rain and the no rain right there.
Yeah.
Coming with that particular camera shot. So that's moving, that's right in toward Abington in that direction right there. What does Emory and Henry look like right now, David?
Okay, let me pull that up.
Probably, or even the Glade Spring, right through the.
Almost there. There's Emory.
So the flags whipping around pretty good there. Some gusty winds currently with some rain beginning to come down, not particularly heavy, but we do have some heavy showers and storms moving in that direction right along Interstate 81, Lee Highway, on the east and northeast side of Abington.
Right.
The whole area here of Washington County, including Abington, really getting hit hard with a lot of heavy rain to Lindell
Meadowview
and Clinchburg, toward DeBusk Mill, that whole area. Meadowview getting just right along the southern fringe of that intense rain, extending back toward Hyder and Johnson Memorial Hospital. Here's the Glade Spring area. I mean, I'm assuming right now that Interstate 81 is not a pleasant drive right now, especially from Abington points eastward here over the next half hour or so, and that soon is moving into Smith County. In fact, we've got some activity blowing up here over White Top. That actually within the past few minutes as well.
Yeah, so several storms popping up. So things are quiet over northeast Tennessee for now, but we're watching the storms in the Knoxville area pushing northeast, and then watching this line of storms. It's over Whitewood, moving into Richland soon. Southwest Virginia Community College. We can check out that camera too. And it's turning around.
Some gusty winds, it looks like. Nothing particularly severe at this point, but definitely storms moving into that area right now. So the rain will be picking up, and the gusty winds will continue here in areas of right near the Russell-Tazewell County line, where the community college is just inside into Tazewell County along Highway 19 is where this camera shot is, and the storms continue to fire up and move across this part of Southwest Virginia, and moving quickly into Smith County, and even developing into parts of Smith County. New storm popping up, especially in the southern part of Smith County. But we can show you Saltville. You're getting the heavy rain right now. This is moving up from Washington County. The heavier downpours look to be just about ready to push east of downtown Abington, getting close to Damascus. Here's Highway 75 going down towards South Holston Lake. Not too bad right now on the south side of South Holston Lake. Had this little storm come over that's now over Shady Valley. Came through that part of Sullivan County briefly, and then some scattered showers going to be moving in to South Holston Lake area here over the next couple of minutes. But this activity is not severe. Got a new storm that has just popped up also here along the along the Johnson and Watauga County line near Trade.
And another warning for our North Carolina counties.
That's that storm that developed near Asheville. I mean, they're moving pretty quickly, so.
Yeah, so this is for Madison, Mitchell, and Yancey counties. Potential for some $half sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So this has a higher hail potential.
Right.
The cell's still to the southeast of Mars Hill, but moving toward Burnsville and Bakersville over the next several minutes.
And I would say that any of these individual cells that are developing, in the Knoxville area would have a higher chance for some quarter-size hail as well, as opposed to that line of storms that's coming through that has been mainly very small hail, under penny size or less. But some of these individual cell structures, these little supercells, would have a higher chance, I think, of, especially the one here near Knoxville and Powell might have the higher chance of some of that larger hail as well, up to inch diameter. New warning. No, that's. Go ahead.
We're going to be doing another cut-in on News 5 WCOIB, a brief one before the race starts to give everyone a heads up about these storms. So just heads up on that. That will be starting here in a little bit. as we continue our coverage here online. So we are tracking severe thunderstorms over Washington County, Virginia, near and east of Abington. It's over Glade Spring, over Saltville now into Smith County and moving toward Marion. Also, storms moving into Richlands and toward Tazewell. So the warning for Smith County and Tazewell County in effect until 5:15. The warning for Washington County, Virginia in effect till 4:45. So while this, and there's also some individual cells that are pretty intense now around White Top and near Flatwood. Another intense cell along the Grayson-Smith County line just southeast of Sugar Grove. In fact, the hail has picked up quite a bit now, so that cell south of Sugar Grove could have some $half sized hail with it. So that has intensified quickly. Also, the storm over White Top could have some nickel to potentially quarter-sized hail. So both those cells have intensified quickly. There's the cell southeast of Mars Hill with some hail, and then also cells in Knoxville. So there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for extreme western Hawkins County and also western Hancock County. That's until 5 o'clock. It's actually for the cell. It's still back to the southwest near Corrington and near Maynardville. But they're moving pretty quickly as the risk of some quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. And these storms are moving northeast. So unfortunately, even though it's been quiet over northeast Tennessee for much of the afternoon with some rain, some thunder and lightning, especially near the Tennessee or near the Virginia line, unfortunately these severe thunderstorms look to be moving into parts of northeast Tennessee during the next hour or two.
He's,
wait till the commercial breaks over.
Yeah, all right, we're ready to go.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, from the StormTrack 5 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Dirks with David Boyd here in the Weather Center. David, we're going to give a quick update on the storms before we start the race and let you know of some new warnings that are in effect until 5:15 for parts of Southwest Virginia, plus some new storms flaring up southwest of the Tri-Cities near Knoxville.
So this is in effect for western Grayson, all of Smith, all of Tazewell County, even into Wythe County. This severe thunderstorm warning till 5:15. The risk for some large hail, especially near White Top and southeast of Sugar Grove, could actually be larger than quarter-sized now there, and some gusts to 60 miles an hour. Also, the warning continues eastern Washington County, Virginia, and northward into eastern Russell. That's until 4:45. And then, as you mentioned, Dave, we're monitoring new storms to our southwest that could be moving into the viewing area over the next 30 to 60 minutes.
And one quick thing about these storms is they do have some indication of rotation, and we'll have to keep an eye on the possibility of an isolated tornado popping up with those storms. But I know these are still out of our viewing area, but they are moving to the northeast really quickly, around 55 miles per hour. So just a heads up for areas of Hawkins and Hamblin and Cott County, and eventually that would push into Greene County and Hancock County as well. So these are the storms that are yet to move in, but will be impacting potentially northeast Tennessee. There are severe thunderstorm warnings with those, and they certainly bear watching and are dangerous storms right now in and north and east of the Knoxville area. But right now, the severe storms are pushing east through Washington County, eastern Washington County, now moving into Smith County and Tazewell County, and as you mentioned, also Grayson County. So the threat for severe thunderstorms diminishing short term, like we're talking the next hour or so or two for the Tri-Cities area, which largely missed this line of storms, at least the Tennessee side, but we'll be monitoring that very carefully and bringing you updates as necessary as these the second area of storms continues to move our way from the Knoxville area.
Also some cells further to the south into North Carolina. So several things that we are tracking at the moment. We wanted to give you a quick update on News 5 WCYB. We'll be cutting in when conditions warrant, but we know the race is going to begin here very soon. We're going to continue our coverage online. You can continue to watch on our Facebook pages, on YouTube, also in the News 5 app and at WCYB.com. So now back to regular programming for now. We're going to continue to monitor this here online. We'll be back shortly with another update. You can see more radar information in the StormTrack 5 app, but we'll be back very soon here on the live stream. Good afternoon, everyone. Still watching on our live stream. They're taking a little bit of a break as there's going to be more storms coming in. But just a quick recap that there is a severe thunderstorm warning in place for Smith County, but it's mainly eastern Smith County around Adkins. This warning in effect till about 5:15. Quarter size tail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Also southward into Grayson County. There's also a warning in effect for Ashe County, Watauga County, northern part of the county until 5:45. Quarter size tail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. More storms to the south near Burnsville and Bakersville. And then finally, the storms we're going to be monitoring very closely next with the tornado warning that's in effect for the Morristown area and also around Jefferson City. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this live stream, but we're going to be starting another one pretty soon. We're going to keep it going on WCYB.com and also on the News 5 app, but we're going to restart the Facebook and YouTube streams momentarily. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.